Good afternoon, everyone. This is to remind you that we are live at this time that will showcase um, your photos, your video, as well as your conversation. So again, we are live. Welcome those who are just joining us. This is a reminder that we are live at this point.
Hello, everybody.
Good afternoon.
All right. Making sure we're coming out okay. We're looking. Make sure we have quorum of board persons. I think we do.
Yep.
I can't really see. But
Bishop, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Martin, good to see.
I believe that we have all board members on except I think we're waiting for Trustee McKenzie to join us.
Okay. All right. Well, we will give it a minute and we'll start. If he comes on later, that'll be perfectly fine. We'll have a quorum already.
I just heard from Trustee McKenzie. He will be joining us just a tad late. He is still tied up in another meeting.
All righty.
Very well, we will carry on. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the March 11, 2021 meeting of the Tennessee State University Board of Trustees, and it is now called into order. Before we get started, we need to make certain findings on the record regarding the necessity of conducting this meeting by electronic participation without a physical quorum present due to the corona pandemic. In accordance with the Tennessee Code annotated section 844-108B2, as chair of the Board of Trustees, I offer the following facts and circumstances in support of the finding of the necessity for the Board of Trustees to conduct its meeting without a physical presence of a quorum. The board is scheduled to take up important board matters which require timely action by the board, including but not limited to the approval of academic program modifications and a new academic program. The board will also hear important reports on COVID-19 related issues affecting students and reports from the president and board chair. Participation by electronic means is necessitated by the COVID-19 pandemic and accompanying guidance from the CDC in the state of Tennessee to limit in-face contact whenever possible. Electronic participation for the board meeting is necessary for the safety of board members, staff, and guests. Accordingly, I move that the board find that participation by a quorum of the board members by electronic means of communication is necessary. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. The question is on the motion to find that participation by a quorum of the board members by electronic means of communication is necessary. Secretary Pellington, please call the roll.
Chair Walker,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole,
Yes.
Trustee Kribel,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Lewis. Okay. Trustee Martin,
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie is delayed. Trustee Seckman.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, I believe the motion carries. So we'll proceed with the meeting with the quorum present. Thank you. Before we get started, we need to, let me just introduce one of our new board members. We're very excited to have with us, Mr. Van Pennock. Trustee Pennock is the Chief Administrative Officer at DeGard Communications. He previously worked at Fisk University in various capacities, and he also co-founded In Shuttle Transportation Incorporated and served as its president for 10 years. Trustee Pennock has served on various city and community committees and nonprofit boards. And the board looks forward to working with you, Trustee Pennock, and appreciate your service to the board's Finance and Budget Committee. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Walker. Glad to be here and look forward to working with each and every one to on behalf of the students and faculty and others at TSU.
Thank you, sir. As you will note in your board materials for today's meeting, we have several items on today's agenda. The next item listed on the agenda is the roll call declaration of a quorum. This time, Secretary Pellington, please call the roll.
Chair Walker,
Yes.
Chair Cole,
Yes.
or Chair Cole, sorry. Trustee Kribel,
Here.
Trustee Lewis, Trustee Martin,
Here.
Trustee Seckman,
Here.
we have a quorum.
Thank you. So board members, if you cannot hear or speak to the other board members, please state so now. And for each board member participating electronically, please identify any individuals who are present in the location from which you are participating. All right, the first action item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the November 19th, 2020 board meeting. You have in your March 11th, 2021 board materials, the minutes for the November 19th, 2020 board meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the November 19th, 2020 board meeting?
I move to approve the minutes of November 19, 2020 board meeting as presented in the March 11, 2021 material.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Right, hearing none. The question is on the motion to approve the minutes of the November 19, 2020 board meeting as contained in the board materials for the March 11, 2021 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Thank you, Chair Walker. I also wanted to recognize the presence also of the student trustee who's non-voting but is present for the meeting as well.
Hey, close that door for me, man.
Okay, so Chair Walker,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole,
Yes.
Trustee Bill,
Aye.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Lewis,
Yes.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Seckman.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Motion is approved. All right, the next item on the agenda is the Audit Committee report, and the chair recognizes Audit Committee Chair Trustee Cole, who will report the actions and other items from today's Audit Committee meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Walker. The audit committee met today to act on one agenda item, receive reports on 3 items, and to go into executive session to discuss items deemed confidential under state law. The audit committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the November 19th, 2020 audit committee meeting minutes. In addition, the audit committee reviewed and discussed completed internal audits, outstanding audit issues, and the university's risk assessment process. As I stated, the audit committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the minutes of the November 19, 2020 audit committee meeting. You have in your March 11, 2021 board material, the minutes for the November 19, 2020 audit committee meeting. On behalf of the audit committee, I move to approve the minutes of the November 19, 2020 audit committee meeting as contained in the board material for March 11, 2021 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the minutes of the November 19, 2020 Audit Committee meeting as contained in the board materials for March 11, 2021 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Walker,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole,
Yes.
Trustee Bill,
Aye.
Trustee Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Seckman.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Motion is approved. The next item on the agenda, thank you, Trustee Cole. The next item on the agenda is the Finance and Budget Committee report. The chair recognizes Finance and Budget Committee Chair, Trustee Lewis, who will report the actions and information items from today's Finance and Budget Committee meeting. Trustee Lewis.
The Finance and Budget Committee met today to act on 1 item and receive reports on 5 items. The Finance and Budget Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the November 19, 2020 Finance and Budget Committee meeting minutes. Additionally, President Glover and her team provided reports on CARES Act funding, the General Assembly's Land Grant Committee proceedings, and the fiscal year 21 institutional revised budget. The committee also heard reports on enrollment, market, and recruitment plans, and on institutional advancement. As I stated earlier, the Finance and Budget Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the minutes of November 19, 2020 Finance and Budget Committee meetings. You have in your March 11, 2021 board materials the minutes of the November 19, 2020 Finance and Budget Committee meeting. On behalf of the Finance and Budget Committee, I move to approve the minutes of the November 19, 2020 Finance and Budget Committee meeting as contained in the materials for the March 11, 2020 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the minutes of the November 19, 2020 Finance and Budget Committee meeting as contained in the board materials for March 11, 2021 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Walker,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole,
Aye.
Trustee Corbill,
Aye.
Trustee Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Seckman.
Aye.
We have 7 ayes.
Thank you. The motion is approved. Trustee Lewis.
Chair Walker, this concludes Finance and Budget Committee report.
Thank you, Trustee Lewis, and I appreciate your work and the work of the other members of the Finance and Budget Committee. The next item on the agenda is the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee report. The chair recognizes the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee Chair, Trustee Martin, to report out the action items and other items of the day's Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee meeting. Trustee Martin.
Thank you, Chair Walker. The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee met today to consider and vote on 4 agenda items and to receive reports on 4 other agenda items. The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the November 19, 2020 Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee meeting minutes, approval of the termination of design concentration in the Bachelor's of Science in Family Consumer Science program, approval of the termination of School of Psychology concentration in the PhD in Psychology program, and the approval of a new academic program, the MS in Data Science. The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee also received reports on COVID-19, coronavirus pandemic, academic and student issues, SACS accreditation review matters, academic affairs, and student affairs. As I stated earlier, the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the minutes of the November 19th, 2020 Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee meeting as contained in board materials for the March 11th, 2021 board meeting. On behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve the minutes of the November 19th, 2020 Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee meeting as contained in board materials for the March 11th, 2021 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the minutes of the November 19, 2020 Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee meeting as contained in the board materials for the March 11, 2021 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Walker,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole,
Yes.
Trustee Corbill,
Aye.
Trustee Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Seckman.
Aye.
We have 7 ayes.
Thank you. The motion is approved. Trustee Martin.
The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of an academic program modification, the termination of the design concentration in the Bachelor's of Science in Family Consumer Science program. Information pertaining to this agenda item is contained in the board materials for the March 11, 2021 board meeting. On behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve an academic program modification, the termination of the design concentration in Bachelor's of Science in Family Consumer Science program as contained in board materials for the March 11, 2021 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the academic program modification, the termination of the design concentration in the Bachelor of Science in Family Consumer Science program as containing the board materials for March 11, 2021 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Walker,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole,
Yes.
Trustee Corbill,
Aye.
Trustee Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Seckman.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Thank you. The motion is approved. Trustee Martin.
The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of an academic program modification, the termination of the School of Psychology concentration in the PhD in Psychology program. Information pertaining to this agenda item is contained in board materials for the March 11, 2021 board meeting. On behalf of the Academic Affairs Program, the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve the academic program modification, the termination of the School of Psychology concentration in the PhD in Psychology program as contained in board materials for March 11, 2021 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the academic program modification, the termination of the School of Psychology concentration in the PhD in Psychology program contained in the board materials for March 11, 2021 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Walker,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole,
Yes.
Trustee Cabell,
Aye.
Trustee Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Segment.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Motion is approved. Trustee Martin.
The Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee also voted to recommend to the full board the approval of a new academic program, the MS in Data Science. Information pertaining to this agenda item is contained in the board materials for the March 11, 2021 board meeting. On behalf of the Academic Affairs and Student Affairs Committee, I move to approve a new academic program, the MS in Data Science as contained in board materials for the March 11, 2021 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question is on the motion to approve the new academic program, the MS in Data Science, as contained in the board materials for March 11, 2021 board meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Chair Walker,
Aye.
Vice Chair Cole,
Aye.
Trustee Cabell,
Aye.
Trustee Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Segment.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Trustee Martin.
Thank you, Chair Walker. That concludes my report.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Executive Committee report. As Chair of the Board, Chair of the Executive Committee, I'll report the action and information items from today's Executive Committee meeting. The Executive Committee met today to discuss and vote on specified committee agenda items. The committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the November 19, 2020 Executive Committee meeting minutes. The Executive Committee also heard an update from Vice Chair Cole on the President's annual performance review and a report from Secretary Pendleton. As I stated, the Executive Committee voted to recommend to the full board the approval of the minutes of the November 19, 2020 executive contained in the board materials for the March 11, 2021 board meeting. And on behalf of the Executive Committee, I move to approve the minutes of the November 19, 2020 Executive Committee meeting as contained in the board materials for the March 11, 2021 board meeting. Is there a second?
Cabell,
Aye.
Trustee Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Segment.
Aye.
7 ayes.
The motion is approved. This concludes the Executive Committee report. Next item on the agenda is the report on TSU's research funding. The chair recognizes President Glover, who will provide information regarding this agenda item. President Glover.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to call on Dr. Francis Williams to present this report.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Francis Williams, and I will be presenting on the research status at TSU, focusing on our research funds and the funding we've received. So this slide just provides an overview of the presentation. I will provide a quick update, some highlights of the awards that we have received at TSU. I'll go over and give a brief summary of past research awards for the last 5 years. Then I'll talk about the current status of our research funding and give a brief overview of our current activities as it pertains to research. So TSU faculty and staff are engaged and participate in various scholarly activities, including grantsmanship. Over the past few years, our grantsmanship activities and numbers have increased. These efforts not only demonstrate the university's research competitiveness and our focus on faculty and staff scholarship, but it also proves or evidences our Carnegie classification as an R2 doctoral university, high research university. And so these funds are very important as they provide us and faculty with funding to conduct cutting edge research. We're also able to provide student scholarships, outreach activities, as well as faculty and student development and training. So this slide just shows a few highlights of some of our research awards that we have received. Again, we have received a number of awards this year across all of our colleges and programs. However, this slide just highlights a few. So Dr. Carla Adesso received a grant where she is leading a national effort to develop new tools to manage a wood-borne beetle that attacks trees. It's a $6 million award from USDA NIFA. And I think it should be noted that Dr. Adessa is leading a team that includes 24 researchers from 11 institutions across the country. And so we are very proud of Dr. Adessa and this award and her efforts for this award. We also have Dr. Brahma, who was awarded the National Science Foundation's most prestigious and competitive award for junior faculty, the Career Award. Dr. Brahma will use this award to enhance his research in network systems, signal processing, and cybersecurity. Another award being highlighted today was awarded by Dr. Jerry Haynes, the Dean for the College of Education. She received a $1.2 million award from the Tennessee Department of Education. This award trains and licenses teachers to be assistant principals. Lastly, Doctors Wayland and Taravidi, who are in the College of Life and Physical Sciences, received a continuation award from the National Institutes of Health for their work with Meharry and Vanderbilt to address cancer health disparities. So they're performing some great work within this consortium. There's a number of other TSU faculty that are involved in that award as well. Again, these are just a few of the many grants that we have at TSU. So this slide here just shows awards that we've received for the past 5 years at TSU. And so over the past 5 years, up until fiscal year 20, we had an average of about 50 million over those 5 years. Last year, for fiscal year 20, we did have a goal of 50 million for our awards. And you can see that we actually were awarded 55 million. So we exceeded our goal for that year. And again, this can be attributed to our faculty members and their continued preparation and submission of proposals, even during the pandemic. So our office was able to work with the faculty and getting those proposals in, as well as providing faculty development seminars and workshops. So this slide shows the status of our research funding to date. So we are currently at roughly $60 million for our awards. And again, we still expect to receive some awards this year, but we've already surpassed our awards from last year, as well as our goal this year. This year, we were aiming for 55 million. And so we do expect that this number will be even higher this year as we continue to get or find out about awards that are still pending. So this slide just shows the breakdown of our awards by source. So you can see most of our grants are federally funded. We do have about 29.7% or about 30% that are funded by the state, about 2.3% that are funded by other sources, and a very small amount comes from private sources. Now, some of our private sources are actually captured under our corporate sponsorship office. And here we have our top funding agencies. And so when you look at our awards, the top agencies that fund our faculty and staff are the USDA, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the National Science Foundation, and the U.S. Department of Education. So just to wrap up with some of our current activities. So we do have a number of proposals that are being prepared now by faculty and staff to be submitted to various RFPs and solicitations. So we'll be working with those faculty and staff to make sure those proposals get submitted. And again, we are waiting to hear about a number of proposals that have been submitted to see if they've been funded or not. In RSP, we will continue to offer our research development seminars to help faculty learn about writing research proposals or various proposals, as well as helping junior faculty and just any type of development or assistance that may be needed by faculty as they are writing proposals. We also have our research symposium that's coming up March 22nd through the 26th, as well as a summer writing retreat. And both of those events will be virtual this year, but we do expect to have a great turnout and great participation by faculty and staff and students in our research symposium. So we have new proposal and grants administration software that we are implementing this year, and we plan to roll out by the next fiscal year. And so we are going through some trainings now. We think that this will help with processes and efficiency for our faculty. So we think our faculty will be happy about that. And lastly, it's not up here, but we are also working hard to provide our policies and procedures for technology transfer. We know this is a need of our faculty as well. So at this time, I will answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, President Glover. Thank you so much, Ms. Williams. We appreciate the work that you've done, and certainly we're looking forward to more of the same. Thank you very, very kindly.
Sure.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the President's report. The chair recognizes President Glover, who will provide a report on this agenda item.
Thank you, Chair Walker, members of the Tennessee State University Board of Trustees. This is the President's report. The agenda, the COVID-19 update, the audit update, the SAC-COC, some information on recruitment and enrollment, word about the governor's budget, the CARES Act, grants and research, and talked about some funding and partnerships and endowment, then land grant funding update. I'm going to leave out the grants, one or two of us since we've already done this. So let's go to the COVID-19 pandemic. Just want to tell you that we're following the same procedure this spring 2021 as we did for fall of 2020. We allowed the faculty to return to campus based on their level of comfort, and the staff and administrators the same, but they had to have a consultation with their supervisors also. The campus is open on an as-needed basis, but it's not fully open to the public yet. We made the adjustments. We're continuing from last fall with the same adjustments. Our classes started a little late across the country. Many of us decided to start late, January 25th. Commencement will be held on May 1st. We're in discussion right now about the commencement details. The first 2 weeks of instruction were online, and we have both online and hybrid class instruction, some on campus, also in person. The first 2 weeks also, we had a safer in place policy. That concept was in place for students who live on campus. Then we have continued our modified dining food service to make sure the students are eating healthy meals, but they can't come out and congregate and in the student center. And then I mentioned before, we provide technology devices to about 1,000 students last fall, and we're continuing to assist students in the spring of 2021. And we continue the 15% discount to students who enrolled in online classes. So the health and safety protocols, we continued those. The face coverings are required to be worn at all times on campuses in a public place. We also have the face coverings that we distribute to the students, to the faculty, and to the staff as they need them. Social distancing, we continued that. We have some stickers placed throughout the campuses to show the social distancing aspects, and we do temperature checks on all individuals that come to the campus. And we randomly select some individuals throughout the campus. The students and employees have to wash their hands frequently. We're observing all the health experts' advice. The hand sanitizers, and testing is available for everybody, students and employees. And the last thing is that we have requested that TSU be a vaccination site, and we're still waiting to hear back from that. We checked, Dr. Johnson checked us latest yesterday. They have not named us a vaccination site yet. So let's move to the audit, where we are with the audit. We have corrected a lot of deficiencies from the audit report that we got last fall. The most significant deficiency was TSU's failure to complete the financial statements and the bank transactions in a timely manner. We have done some major steps. We made some significant staffing changes, and we restructured the finance unit. And we retained a CPA firm who's assisting us with a lot of the accounting functions, including the reconciliations. And we've updated many of our financial processes, our accounting processes, and implemented some just training for the individuals who work in accounting. And we are specifically addressing all the findings, but specifically we're addressing finding 2.8 as well as finding number 1. We submitted a corrective action plan to the control last December, and we work constantly with the auditors almost daily. So this is a summary of some of the personnel changes. We've hired a controller with experience in the TBR system and with Banner. We had an associate, the associate vice president in charge of accounting took the buyout last December. And so we're still filling positions associated with her buyout, as well as others who took a buyout. The vice president of business and finance is retiring this month. And so that position has been posted and has closed. We're reviewing applicants for that now. There's some other additional personnel that we are hiring, 3 new accountants. 1 person will be specifically in charge of reconciliations. And we hired a foundation accountant, a director foundation accountant that started last Monday. So again, we posted the VP position of finance, and we hope to have that person in place either by early May, but the latest by mid-May. All right, now let's go to SAC COC update. So this is just some dates. September 24th, we submitted our report. Then in November, we received some preliminary reaffirmation information back, and we just had to provide some updates for what they gave us back. And then February 1st, the focus report and the QEP was then submitted to SACS. And the 25th, we had our mock visit, which turned out to be a very good visit. And 2 board members participated in that mock visit. Now, the big visit, March 16th through 18th, is our SACS visit, our on-site committee visit. And we're looking forward to that visit. I just want to also say that the steering committee is working to complete the rest of the focus and the QEP, and is chaired by Dr. Charlize Anderson, who is the managing executive director of institutional effectiveness research, planning, and assessment. And of course, she reports to our provost and vice president of academic affairs. So we have 83 programs under review. We have one associate's program, 39 bachelor programs, 24 masters. We have 8 doctorate programs, then 11 professional programs, all under review right now. This next chart just shows the various, breaks that down by area, and it's a busy chart, but it just shows how many programs under review in the various areas. As you would suspect, health sciences are our largest, and they have 17, and liberal arts is the next one, has 14. So we have everybody, they range from 5 programs in business to 17 programs in health sciences. So total of 83 programs. Next. So let's go, during the visit, it ends with an exit conference with the president with a verbal report of the findings. And then after that, the on-site committee will prepare a draft report. The university president will receive a copy of this report and will have a brief period to respond to errors of fact, not anything else to add, but errors of fact. If we say we were formed in 1906 as opposed to 1912. So errors of fact, we can correct those. And then the final reaffirmation committee report will be submitted to SACS, to the SACS staff during April and May this year. And then we'll receive our final committee report back the same, a little bit later in that same April, May. There's no specific date that has been given to us yet. And then anything that comes back, there may be a deficiency. We do maybe expect one deficiency, but we have 150 days to respond to it, and that any other open items that they may ask us to address. And the SACS will meet in December with the final recommendation. Let's turn to recruitment and enrollment. So I gave this information out. We have 7,617 students last fall. Undergraduate 6,000, graduate 16, 17. I think the last time I switched those numbers and they went crazy on social media. And so now they are corrected. All right, let's go to the next one. So we have some recruitment strategies. Some of the things we've done, we've just enhanced our digital recruitment, just increased some of the live events for the prospective students. Since everything is done virtually, most of these pertain to the virtual things we've done. We've realigned various admissions processes and application processes, and we've increased just a lot of virtual visits. This has just a number of things we've done in the virtual world. And one good thing we've done is we've increased our number of scholarships, and we have speeded up the time that we have given out scholarships. Instead of waiting until March or April, we've now done in February. Okay, next slide. Here's the major markers for recruitment. We really go after our first year students, and we're putting a special emphasis this year on our returning students. And then the graduate schools recruiting hard. We're going to the community colleges, the dual enrollment students, the adult learning and non-traditional students, and veterans. There's the community colleges. We have beefed up our efforts with community colleges. You can see the ones we have: Nashville State, Modelo, Southwest, Volunteer State, Lawson, Metro National Public Schools, Shelby County Schools, which is Memphis, and the Montgomery County School, which is Clarksville. A word about dual enrollment. The dual enrollment high school partners, you can see the same ones we just mentioned before: Clarksville, Chattanooga, Haywood, Jackson. We have some Memphis and Nashville, and we have others that we are working on now. But we have others we're working on now, and that we'll know about those as we continue through the semester. I'm going to pause for a moment and ask our student trustee, Trustee Tiara Thomas, if she could just come for a moment and just give, as part of this report, just tell us about a couple of student initiatives that she wanted to mention. Trustee Thomas.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Glover. Even though we've been in this pandemic, the work of students and the work of our administration has not stopped. I think it also has allowed us to be very creative and push harder in the initiatives that we're searching for and looking to implement on our campus. Just one, for example, I was just approved as the student trustee to move forward with a project to bury a time capsule on the campus of Tennessee State University, just to capitalize on the fact that we are living history. And one day we want our stories told to future generations and future Tigers at TSU, and how we prevailed during this time and different things that we did to make sure that our community was well educated as well as safe during this time. So apart from that, we're gearing up for our new student elections. We have a lot of students who are interested in serving in leadership positions and who are willing to put their all into serving Tennessee State University. Our university has done a great job of continuing to keep us safe with different initiatives, preparing us with masks. You can go anywhere in the student center and just grab a mask if you need one. No student will be left without their own personal protection equipment, as well as being able to go to the student health center and get tested on a regular basis for free. I don't think many other universities are doing what Tennessee State University is doing for their students. And I will always appreciate our amazing president, Dr. Glover, for that, as well as the Division of Academic Affairs under leadership of Dr. Harris and the Division of Student Affairs under Dean Stevenson, who work day in and day out to ensure that we have everything we need to be successful here at TSU.
Well, thank you, Trustee Tiara Thomas, for providing that input. All right, let me just move on again to the partnership with Meharry. We have established this Levi Walker Student Institute, and we have partnered with Meharry Medical College just to create this pipeline for students for early admission to an early entry to medical school and dental school. It was named after Levi Watkins. That's Levi Watkins Jr., a 1966 TSU alum, and who was president of the SGA. And so the program just allows students, it's a 3 years undergraduate at TSU, and then we go to the rest of the time at Meharry. And now students applying have to have a minimum GPA of 3.5 and a minimum ACT score of 28. And that partnership, Ms. Barbara Murrow heads that up, and she is working with Mr. Izzet to get the qualified students and get the program out in operational by August. Next. The CARES Act. So we're continuing to be good stewards of the CARES Act funding. The CARES Act was $14 billion round one for universities nationwide. And then of that, $1 billion or so was provided to HBCUs and MSIs for expenses associated with COVID. Next. Then TSU received $7.2 million more in general CARES Act funding and $16.2 million on HBCU provision of the CARES Act. But 1/2 of the funds were allocated to students who were directly affected by COVID-19. So we put together a model as to how we distribute the CARES Act funds to both the graduate and undergraduate students. So we use the funds primarily for scholarships and for technology devices as it pertains to students and operations. Next. And then round two, the emergency fund is now available. We've gotten some of it already. We received additional $12.5 million on HBCU provision of the CARES Act, then $20 million that came just a few days ago for HBCUs. So grants and research, I'm not going to really, I won't go through that one because we've already had that. I just will say that TSU is the top HBCU and received the USDA funds from NIFA. We became the top HBCU a couple of years ago, so we remained at the top in our receipt of USDA funds. We rank among the top 5 HBCUs in receiving research funding. Next, let's just listen. I want to see some of our corporate partners. Don't want to step it too fast, but other people may look at it and start writing down names. But we've got a lot of new partners, and we kept our existing partners. We have we can see we have about 14 new partners, and I just include about 14 or so existing partners already. We continue to grow that. Next slide. Then just about word our endowment. We're pleased with how our endowment, how it's doing. I started from the starting point of when I arrived. The first time we had a measurement was 2014, 42.9 million. And we ended 12/31, 2020 at 72.66 million. That's almost a $30 million growth in the environment. I mean, in the endowment growth. And so we're really pleased about that. Next. Now, finally, I want to talk about land grant funding. I have mentioned in the other forums that that the Tennessee legislature formed a joint land grant institutions funding study committee to just study the inequities of the prior year's federal and state funding for land grant institutions of higher education in the state of Tennessee, and study the effects of the impacts of the funding, including as it relates to operating our institutions. So I presented before the committee on January 11th. With me was Dr. Reddy. We presented to half of the committee, and we just, that went very well. So with them, we discussed the benefits of the land grant funding that it has on TSU and impact that not getting the proper match that it's had on us as a university. So the ultimate objective was to determine the amount of arrears owed to TSU. And then finally, we just said some of the reasons, the limitations of not having the resources that we were needed, the impact of not having sufficient state funds that's owed to us to meet this federal government mandated match requirement. So the first, we couldn't progress the way we wanted to. We were constrained on the programs we could have. Deferred maintenance could have been addressed. There was technology that was severely hampered because of not having the proper technology. We couldn't recruit and offer the students the scholarships that we needed. And then the endowment, we weren't able to save and invest for our future financial needs. So that's some of the limitations of not having the funding that's rightfully due to TSU. So thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. This is the President's report.
Thank you so much, Madam President. We certainly appreciate your report and certainly appreciate your detail. And certainly we are encouraged once again at the direction of the university, and certainly these partnerships really speak to, I think, the relationships and the work that you continue to do to move the needle forward in terms of the vision of TSU. So thank you so very, very much. We really appreciate it. I want to, in terms of the board chair's report, just once again, I'd like to thank you, Ms. Tierra Harris, for being such an extraordinary student trustee and certainly engaging us on the board to many of the student concerns. And certainly I want to thank the entire board for the committee reports. I cannot say enough about the deep dive that takes place in these committees prior to us coming to this point. It is a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of real engagement, dialogue, sometimes debate, but we come out better. And I want to assure those who are watching, alumni and current student, faculty, administration, that TSU is certainly moving in the right direction. We are very much responsible and aware, rather, of our responsibilities as a board. We understand we are setting policy, and we are certainly working very closely with the administration, and they are hearing us. And as we continue to move forward, we solicit your support, and certainly we thank you for your comments throughout the year. But know that this board is incredibly committed to making certain that Tennessee State University thrives in the future, as it will, and we know it will. And in this unusual pandemic and the adjustments that have had to be made, we are aware that Tennessee State University will continue to be an appealing place for students as we continue to work on engagement, hospitality, begin to work on partnerships to continue to make what we know our most precious asset, our student body, to have an incredible experience at Tennessee State University. So we solicit your support, those of you who are watching, alumni and all, to continue to support Tennessee State University, support this extraordinary administration. All of these folks, deans and administration and faculty, are working hard every day. And thank all of you for your service. I cannot say enough about that. So thank you, thank you, Thank you. This time, we're going to, if there's no additional business among us, if there is, I'd love to hear it, but if there's no additional business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So move.
Thank you so much, Trustee Lewis. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. Secretary Pendleton, please call the roll.
Sorry, am I mute? Chair Walker,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole,
Aye.
Trustee Crabell,
Aye.
Trustee Johnson,
Aye.
Trustee Lewis,
Yes.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Seckman,
Aye.
7 ayes.
All right, the ayes have it. Motion is approved. We are adjourned. Thank all of you for watching. Let's continue to be TSU. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.